Good evening, Free Enterprise fans, and welcome to tonight's race between dustygriff and xPankraz. My name is Baka Shinobi, and I am joined by Dijon Ketchup. How are you doing this evening, Dijon?
I am doing okay.
That's definitely a good feeling to be. We're going to be seeing a very fun race today, aren't we?
Absolutely. Ready to start? Best way to start your day or night, depending on where you are.
Yeah, Rudy, one of the only two characters who starts at level 1, the other character being Paladin Cecil, who, Paladin Cecil is a much better level 1 character because of that whole 600 HP and 13 agility and actual stats compared to Rydia, who starts with 4 agility and 30 HP.
Yes, but only one of them is affected by vanilla agility.
True. We are definitely much more scared of Cecil on this flag set because with Rydia, you at least have the option of finding other characters in the overworld, picking them up, and letting Rydia take a nap can be a very fine anchor with that 4 agility.
Oh well, we haven't even started yet, and we've already got a hype train going. People are very hyped for this match.
I can't blame them. We have xPankraz, the final advancer from the Darkness group, and dustygriff, the advancer of the Spoon group, so two very strong runners in these semifinals as we are near the end of the Highway to the Threemus Zone. This is match 1 of the best of 3 between dustygriff and xPankraz. Both runners went 2-0 last round. They both went 2-1 their first round, but, xPankraz also went 2-0 his first round as well, Dusty went 2-1 against Invenerable. So, two very strong runners duking it out on this stage. I am looking forward to seeing what kind of bloodbath we have today.
Yeah, and with these objectives, who knows where we're going? I mean, most of them are on surface, and then you got one underground, but who knows where the key items are, because you need, let's see, well, you need key items for all the objectives.
Yep, we have the standard Forge the Legend Sword with the Adamant, the Cure the Sand Ruby, Cure the Fever with the Sand Ruby, Burn down the Billows of Mist with the package, and complete the Tower of Zot. All of those except for the Tower of Zot require terminal key items, which means they're not getting other checks. The Tower of Zot requires the Earth Crystal, which can lead us to more checks, so we are definitely going to be hunting a lot of key items. It's not going to be something where you can just chain one into another, like Liberate Baron, complete Zot, and go and blow up the super cannon. No, you're going to need to go and find key items at the end of chains, but we're getting started, and we have, I believe that was I can't tell with some of these sprite changes, I believe that was a Pelham or a Porum. Did you catch?
Apparently my video froze, so no, I did not. I did not know we started.
Ah. And chat is pointing out it was Porum, so that explains why Rydia is continuing to go around as lone adventurer. We do see the better White Mage Rosa in the Watery Pass.
Ooh, yeah. And that was a Val waiting in the Waterfall Cave, so not going to be fighting that one.
With these casters, you are very happy to know that Val is out of the pool. That is something that dustygriff, even though it's not the Demas dustygriff was likely looking for, that is some very good information for Dusty and will make them a lot less scared of building a very mage-heavy team, I'm guessing.
Well, you say Val's out of the pool, but I think she's quite literally in the pool.
Out of the pool for the bosses, in the pool for relaxation. Or maybe she's feeling a bit washed up.
We're starting them early. There's a Yang or Yang. I don't know. I pronounce it both ways.
Me too. I listen to the 3DS remake and it's just Yang. And I say Yang on occasion, and then I read the word and I say Yang. But that is another punch mage. So 4 on mages if you go on class 5. Mr. Monk is a mage, which I'm kind of fond of doing.
I mean, when you got different claws, it's versatile.
Yeah, it's definitely very good for hitting those elemental weaknesses with the Fire, Ice, and Thunder Claws. Does have the Cat Claw, which will just boost his strength and agility. Doesn't get any damage from it, but can go and be in a better shape.
FF4FE just looted an Osphera summon, so that's got to be good for the Iridia start.
That is true, though we do have a Rosa, so I'm curious how valuable they're going to consider that Asura. It could just simply be money early on, which I wouldn't blame either of these runners for taking.
And also having a second heal on hand for no additional cost is, not the worst thing.
Very good point. Also, I think both runners have gone and looted the Dancing Castle and the front of Watery Pass. FF4FE did loot the back of Watery Pass as well, but I do believe I saw a Power Staff picked up early on both sides, so that could be some early game damage for this party.
Indeed. And so both of our runners know who is hiding in that bed that is a potential required.
Yeah, it could be a potential required Sid. Would really like to probably see Sand Ruby from this Antlion Cave or someplace very early rather than later in the seed, because Sid is a very nice character to have early on. I believe we also picked up a Rune Axe, which is a very nice weapon to have for Sid. But
Indeed.
later on in the seed, he does go and start tapering off.
Now FF4FE probably breathing that sigh of relief knowing that Val isn't gonna be a hindrance.
Yeah, and dustygriff going to Hobbs and getting the Jin summoned for Iridia, so that's a pretty good mid-tier summon. Fire Elemental, but will only take a few levels on Iridia to be able to start casting that. Ooh, and finding a Diamond Ring and a Gaia Hat.
Yeah, pretty decent early game summon to have. FF4FE finding another Rosa and a Tella in Mysidia. Quickly takes the Tella because, when you're presented with Tella in this seed, who are you to say no?
Yes, that is something where Tella, being a very reliable grind, if you get the Darkness Crystal, is a very nice character to have. In addition, Tella is actually quite strong in a lot of situations. He's great for hook routes because after you do ordeals, he comes with a lot of his spells that are helpful for getting through a number of encounters to power up the rest of your team with Size or Toad, depending on certain encounters. And he also has tier 3 elemental spells, which can be very helpful against certain fights in the hook route, like the elements.
Of course, nobody told Tella that today is actually November 2nd. He's a couple of days off, and he's wearing his Halloween costume of Elsa from Frozen.
Well, it seems like he just hasn't let it go yet. But definitely finding Ether 1s in Mysidia.
And FF4FE finding Kane on ordeals, and it looked like he took him.
Definitely don't disagree with that. Kane can go and use that Rune Axe as well, and is not quite as strong as Sid early, but definitely much stronger than Sid later, and much faster, more to the point. So, gonna make good use of that. Meanwhile, Dusty is choosing not to go up ordeals yet, just equipping his current team with what he has and heading into Antlion Cave in lockstep with FF4FE.
Wow, that's about as they're taking different paths around because Dusty's gonna loot some more.
FF4FE did loot the back of Watery Pass while Dusty forgoed it, but Dusty did go up Hobbs and check the character there and get that summon. But FF4FE finding a Siren in one of the chests in Antlion Cave is going to be pretty handy.
Yeah, so that's a nice couple of free levels once you get the underground access and full party.
Ooh, and dustygriff is also finding a stack of Medusa arrows. Those are somewhat pricey to buy in shops. They cost 300 gold per, but they can also inflict a stone status on enemies without the boss bit.
Give me a moment. I have to refresh.
And we have Ogopogo here, who is, well, he's trying to come and wash away our worries, but it's, well, gonna be a little annoying in this fight. Kane is doing a 271 damage with that Rune Axe on a jump. Rose is doing 100 damage with the Power Staff blocks. The spot doesn't punch hard, but those big waves are gonna go and eat through the party HP pretty easily. So xPankraz is also knocked down Rydia to make sure that she doesn't get any experience. And dustygriff is going and getting into the fight as well. She does not have that Kane, but Center Slot Rosa doing 351 damage on a crit. Very nice. Also not going out of their way. Dusty's also not going out of his way to go and knock down Rydia at this point, so letting her get, might be letting her get levels thanks to Rydia having that Jin summon. But xPankraz is done and xPankraz is out.
And we know how our runners are going to get to Zeromus tonight, because that was a pass.
Yep. The pass is one of the two ways to Zeromus, the first being the primary way being the Darkness Crystal, which will go and summon the big whale and let you go and fly to the moon and explore on there. The pass will take you directly to Zeromus. You can't explore any other part of the moon, but you can go and fight Zeromus with a much shorter walk. It is 3 minutes at least to walk down the lunar subterranean.
It's like that pot you can look in Chrono Trigger and just go straight to Lavos.
That indeed. But we do see xPankraz making a divergence, is not going and picking up the Cecil and Hobbs, but is fighting the Octomam, either for experience or to open up that Cecil for later, potentially.
Yeah, the good thing about this flag set is any characters that you encounter and don't take will just go to Mysidia, and you can pick them up later.
And in that fight against Octomam, xPankraz showed off a neat bit of tech. If you hit if you hit anyone with a Power Staff, there's a chance of berserking them if they're not a boss or immune to berserk. So xPankraz hit Kane with the Power Staff, not because they're annoyed of Kane's inevitable betrayal, but because they want Kane to get a bit angrier at the opponent.
Curse your sudden but inevitable several betrayals.
Look, it's only 3 times? Trace the party?
Fool me once, shame on you. Fool me 8 or more times, shame on me.
But Dusty is going around checking shops, is finding life potions for sale in Toria. That is definitely a very nice thing to find, as those life potions are very helpful, not just because we may or may not be, shall we say, invested in strategies that, yes, I did lose all my characters, let's throw a life potion and get them back into the fight right away, but also for some grind strategies.
And even if you didn't need to worry about grind, it's always a good insurance policy.
Yeah, it's very true. Oh, speaking of insurance policies, we see an alt gauntlet here, and xPankraz does not have the ultimate insurance policy against nuisance of Thor Rages. The alt gauntlet is 5 random encounters. Well, not so random encounters. It's the same fights every time they show up, but they are pulled from the local pool, and they're kind of a slog to go through if you don't have good AoE damage.
I believe we call that French vanilla, because it's not the ones that you would see, the encounters you would see here, either vanilla or with the alt gauntlet flag off. But it's still the vanilla spot for it.
Yeah, yes indeed. Also, I'm kind of amused as I believe this is one of the few times where the alt gauntlet is going to be giving you less experience than the normal boss fight, because it doesn't scale the experience. You still get the normal experience from this fight. Or from the 5 fights, excuse me. And in the meantime, dustygriff has found a very free fight on Ordeals in the form of King Queen Evelyn.
Not where you want to see this fight.
No, this spot's one of the weakest spots in the games in terms of attack power and magic attack power, but that matters even less with King Queen Evelyn because, well, they're a cutscene boss. They kind of go and throw out a few fire twos, a few fire ones, decide, we don't have our heart in this. We're just gonna go away and take a nap later.
Our son may not be here to bring us to our senses, but we're gonna go anyway.
Yeah, they are. Well, when they go to sleep, do they think they sleep on king or queen size beds?
Probably like a California king. Although, what's the equivalent of California in this world?
A place that's I'm guessing Damcyan, because in the after years it turns out that Damcyan's quite wealthy and is in the middle of a desert, so and has a big coast, so all of those things make me think of, Damcyan's probably the most California-like of this country.
Well, chat is very in agreement that it's Troya.
Troya has too many trees and not enough. We're not going to go and continue that.
I mean, California has trees.
It has trees. It's
They're just all on fire.
That's the thing I was not going to say.
Okay. Well, speaking of fire, here's D-Lunars on the back attack spot.
D-Lunars is a bit of a nuisance, but they're definitely, of all the Lunar bosses, I'm probably most happy to not see Plague here, because that Plague fight can get very rude.
Oh, yeah.
Not that the D-Lunars are proving themselves any less rude, but are not immune to Cure 2 potions, so throwing Cure 2 potions will go and help you get through the fight. Kane also going in resisting some damage, so I'm guessing Kane has some form of Dragoon gear on.
Kane with Dragoon gear? I don't buy it.
Yeah, I couldn't see it either.
And Starveil went off, so guessing, hoping that if he doesn't take them out, he'll get reflect strats on the breath. But
yeah, now going and getting one. There's just one D-Lunar left. They will continually counter with fire. Ironically enough, we do go and get a breath off Kane, so now no longer an issue. Tella and Josa are no longer participating in the fight properly, but they're trying to go and get eyes on the situation.
well, Rosa and Tella may not be able to fight, but at least they didn't croak.
Going in, taking a leg up over Rydia, it seems. Meanwhile, FF4FE is through that alcohol and did go and find Thor Rages and is back to this wolf fight and gets the Darkness Crystal. That is a very big item to find.
Yeah, while none of our objectives are on the moon, for all we know, there could be a key item we need on the moon. Plus, you still got a free character slot, and there is a free character on the moon.
There's also a free character in the Sandroof bed because dustygriff just found that in Mount Ordeals, guarded by Odin in the mirror room. So that's going to be objective number 2 on the board. Our runners are not quite so in the dark about where to go for one objective.
Yeah, this last spot in Ordeals, probably one of the least threatening ones because it has very low HP. And Odin, which can, generally be a difficult boss, goes down easily.
Yeah, that is just why you're happy to see Odin. Odin punches hard, and in high magic attacks that Zentetsu can attack is going to be cutting you down to size.
Oh, it's not just for tonight.
I know, there is never a time to go and give up the pun game. If you go and let up on the puns, it just becomes pandemonium. I mean, let's be honest, this is also a fundamental part of the free enterprise community.
Indeed.
Well, we do have confirmation between dustygriff and xPankraz that underground access is not at Ordeals or Fabul, so it's either Baron Inn or an errant demist or behind the twin harp they have.
Dusty is awakening Sid, and xPankraz has committed regicide.
I mean, in his defense, they weren't really interested in going and staying up there either. They want to go to the Hades. And
I
I
hear
can
that's
tell
a
you,
good game.
it is a good game. I can also tell you that in Mount Ordeals, definitely not the Hades. To see if suffering from, I always park my airship here when I go to Kaipo and then walking to the wrong location. And dustygriff skipping going to Fabul for now and going to Baron. Gonna go and see if who is the character in Baron Inn. Gonna check the shop and get some silk webs. That's another big pickup.
Definitely a good thing to have for the final boss.
Definitely agree. Very helpful item. It's really nice to go and be able to apply that maximum application of slow, and there are some fights where it's really helpful as well. Kanaizo is one of those, and root spots is one of them, but this is not a root spot for Kanaizo in all consideration.
Yeah, definitely not. You know, he might flood the Baron in a little bit, but that's about all it's gonna do.
He's still not going to go and wash away the debts of all the bar attendees. Was the xPankraz also getting through this Lunar fight pretty well? Didn't have to do with many fires, just went through Cure 2 potions like Dusty, and they're going to be getting their Sand Ruby very shortly and be able to get objective number 2 on the board as well.
And dustygriff fighting the Magus sisters who were hiding behind the big turtle.
I imagine seeing Kane's axe, they really want to run away. Ooh, or they just want to go and turn the tides and ruin your day.
Ooh.
Kane's back up. The spot has very strong physical attack, but it doesn't have very high speed or magic attack. Berserk out and Kane with that rune axe is going to just blast through, well, when it hits at least, I guess. The downside of the rune axe is it has a base 60% accuracy, so even though that rune axe is doing extra 50% damage, it's not really going to be going in. Well, it's going to do some highly variable damage. It does 1,800 damage to Cindy in the back row, or Sandy in the back row, and 700 again to Cindy in the middle row.
And Mindy's down a second time.
There they all go down. Meanwhile, xPankraz has gotten their Sand Ruby, is probably going to be sprinting off to do objective number 2. dustygriff is getting the hook. I really hope dustygriff goes to Fabul to discover that there's a darkness crystal there.
I have strong opinions on fading the Fabul check.
That is, I felt really silly when I did that on Hooksy myself. In my defense, I did see that Demus was at Rubicant and I wanted to do it anyways, and I had already done my grind. But I did not enjoy seeing that. And dustygriff is going straight to Fabul, not fading it in the slightest, while xPankraz is now starting Baron Inn. this will go and probably put our runners about equal on checks, though dustygriff might be a little bit behind just because FF4FE has been very efficient. dustygriff has to go through the alt gauntlet.
And xPankraz bringing the pain up so.
Well, he's not so there anymore. xPankraz making good use of that power staff. Does 160 damage to Kane, but berserks Kane without needing to use Rose's turn, without needing to use Tello's turn, excuse me. And that lets Tello get a virus off, which takes out Sandy. All that's left is Cindy, and there's a 3200 hit from Kane in the middle slot.
Just a little bit of damage.
Dusty going and pulling out the Thor Rages that he's previously purchased, going and throwing those out.
And then there's Spider-Man pointing at Spider-Man.
2 red versions of Kane. Rather impressive, all things considered.
Usually you want red version and blue version so you can catch them all.
That sounds like a bit of a hard sell. Not so hard sell. Soquib's apparently very nice thing to go and have. And xPankraz is going and setting up for the Baron manipulation for D-Machine grind.
Yeah, that's one of the benefits of having early darkness crystal is you can get your levels grinded up before going underground. So if you have to take the hook route, it's not going to pose much of a problem.
Indeed, that is looks like xPankraz has already found the seed that they need to be on. So what they're doing is, for this tournament, we have can't run on, which means you cannot run away from random encounters. What this really means is that the D-Machine grind is going to be really annoying with the normal manipulation. So our very enterprising community went and treated a different grind or encounter manipulation, where it's less about manipulation and more about which encounter seed are you on. If you're on that one, take these many more fights outside the Baron, turn off encounters, go to the Giant, and the next fight you take in this room will go and be your D-Machine grind.
Yep, if you tell speedrunners that they can't do a thing, they will poke at the game until they find another way to manipulate it.
Yeah, it's our runners do not like to leave free experience on the table. And while the tell it's not entirely free, it's pretty close to free thanks to how the D-Machine fight goes, where basically the D-Machine will only use fire as its normal attack, which is an HP based attack. If you punch it, it will hit you back, but it's not immune to weak, so you can go and cast weak on it with Tella, punch it with someone who's going to go and do more than 9 points of damage, and then your D-Machine is down before it can do any serious damage to you aside from one fire cast.
Well, very conveniently for xPankraz, he actually went up to the moon and found Ether 2 just before going to his grind. And I'm guessing probably going to check that free character on the moon.
I would not be surprised by that in the slightest, because that character on the moon is... You really want a black mage in xPankraz's situation, I think. Rydia should still be in the position to be slingshotted, but Yang is the next best character, and I don't know if the rest of the team is at level 15 or higher. I think they might be, but it's a little close.
A Quake Kid would be nice. Oh, dead. Just another king.
We just can't give that to you. That's the third variety of red shaded cane we've seen. Though I wonder if Pankraz is going to go and check the hook path first. Because that is another character check. This manipulation, as long as you don't turn back on encounters, is not going to go away, so you can go and do a fair amount before you go and get your go to your grind fight. But Pankraz seems to be walking into the Tower of Wishes and is going back past the Porum and is looking for the Yang. Is going to go and take the Punch Mage.
Kick, punch, it's all in the mind.
So Pankraz is going to have a pretty balanced party if they slingshot just that Rydia and the Yang, because Rydia is going to go and probably up to nuke levels. Yang is going to get up to punch your face hard enough that you wish it was the Rydia casting the nuke.
Dusty also grabbing some Ether 2s on the moon, and looks like about to be disappointed in this character check as well.
I wonder if they can I can't talk. I wonder if they can contain themselves on that. But to answer a question from chat, yes. When you have 5 characters, in order to go and get what we call the slingshot, you need to have a full party of 5 characters. The other thing is you need to have characters 5 levels or more below the median party level. With the characters we have, that means they probably need to be below level 10. Though I'm also curious if they're just going to go and take Rosa to white as well and rely on reflex traps, as Dusty also does not go and take Kane and is looking for more options. Also, another very important thing is that they have placed Tella in the middle. That is because the middle slot gets an accuracy bonus, a 25% accuracy bonus, which is very helpful for Tella, as Weak is not a spell guaranteed to hit. It is a spell that at outside of the middle slot, you need to have 51 or higher wisdom to guarantee its 100% accuracy. In the middle slot, you only need to have 10 wisdom to guarantee its 100% accuracy. Very big difference.
Absolutely.
And another big difference I saw, dustygriff took Rosa instead of Yang. Dustygriff, I believe, is going to be much more interested in doing full reflex strats than Xpankraz is.
Yeah, double Rosa. You gotta have a grind up to 2 casters of white and a caster of nuke.
Yep, that is. Dusty will probably have the fastest Roma swipe because Dusty's going to be in a much more secure position to do full reflex strats. And to answer a question from chat from Mr. Puzzle, Tella has 8 or 9 agility to start with. At these levels, Kane's probably at the highest of 12 to 13 agility. And Rosa's only slightly north of that, so it's not going to go and drastically change the amount of turns the other party members are going to get, with the exception of Rydia, who's going to be quite slow compared to the rest of the team, which is probably why Pankraz has left her down.
Dusty saved before turning on the encounters and then resetting, so he was just kind of walking up and down looking for an encounter that wasn't gonna come.
Yeah, that is a very important part of this encounter manipulation. You have to reset to make sure you're starting on a fresh seed, because apparently there's some things that will go and advance your seed a little bit. Seems like we're having small technical issues from Dusty's stream, but we'll be getting that back as soon as possible.
In the meantime, enjoy some purple. Oh, now they're gone. Never mind.
Probably just a small hiccup on their internet. But Dusty is paying very close attention to Iridia, as Iridia is probably going to need to go down in the next fight that dustygriff takes, as if Iridia gets one more level, she'll no longer be 5 levels behind the median of Dusty's party. And you don't want that. You want to make sure that your Iridia stays at below the median, at 5 levels or less than the median party level. Because Iridia takes 1 million experience to get to Nuke.
And million is with 6 zeros.
Yes, that is, put in terms of the grind, it takes 24 D-Machine kills to get 1 million experience. With, well, the other use of life potions, which is the life glitch, it cuts it down to 12 summons and 12 life glitches. With the slingshot on, it takes 6 summons and 6 life glitches.
I don't know, that sounds a lot like math.
It does sound like the awful black magic that is math. But to go into a bit more detail about that life glitch thing I mentioned, you're seeing xPankraz throw life potions on D-Machines when, they're still alive, and then they get hit and disappear. And the life spell animation still goes off, even though nothing changes. It is technically reviving that D-Machine, but because of how the life spell works, it's not coming all the way back. But it's still counting as an extra kill, because the life potion goes and gives HP based off of vitality times 5. When it's cast on a person, they get 5 times their vitality as HP when they come back. That's why Tella frequently comes back with 5 HP after he gets a bunch of levels, and why Iridia with a Heron robe can be revived with 150 HP. Monsters all have a vitality stat of 0, and 0 times 5 is still 0, and when you have 0 hit points, you're still dead. But you do come back to life briefly before you die.
That must suck, like, coming back and then, like, I'm alive. No, wait, I'm not.
I view it more as, like, time to get up. No. Really? No.
Here, take this experience and leave me alone.
If you want to hear something even more amusing, you can do the same thing with your party members. If you have a curse ring, curse rings take 15 off all stats. Why would you want to get something that does that? Well, we can talk about agility manipulation another time, but let's just say if you can make your anchor's agility really low, that'll make your and pretty much everyone else's relative agility very, very high. But you can also get your vitality stat to 0. And if you try and revive a character with a life potion or life 1 in battle when they have a 0 vitality stat, you also get to see that life spell animate, and then your character stubbornly stay on the floor. xPankraz has finished their grind, getting a good number of levels on Rosa, getting 29. I think that's when you're in the high 40s, but not quite. Yeah, just shy of white, but definitely getting Iridia all the way up to Nuke experience.
Yeah, it looks
Go ahead.
I was gonna say, it looks like not quite white, but there's still plenty of game left to go, so there's a good chance we'll get those levels.
Yes, and you can see level 54 Iridia, 1900 HP. Level not 54 Rosa, 2100 HP. That is why Rosa is the best white mage. She gets very strong HP growth compared to other casters.
And at that same level, Tella's HP.
I mean, he hit 4 digits. That is an accomplishment for someone of his age and experience. Though I do believe xPankraz did leave their Tella on the ground because we want to make sure that Tella doesn't gain more experience. Ooh, and xPankraz choosing not to go and stay on Earth, but is instead going to the moon.
An interesting tactic, though being leveled up. can fight things at the moon now. Anything to get out of the hook route.
And with a Yang, you have a Rosa who can go and cast Berserk. You have a Iridia with Nuke, so you've got a decent party for dealing with this.
Nuke the moon.
Well, yeah, Pankraz is also going and healing the characters first, and then going to go into the Lunar Palace and use the MP Restore tile so they don't have to worry about killing off Tella. And our tracker is pointing out that Pankraz still needs to go back to the Earth and wake up Sid, but with all their objectives on Earth, if they can find Package and Zot, they will not need to do the hook route. They'll be able to go and just do those checks and go straight underground. Alternatively, if they find the magma key on their moon, they don't have to do the hook route either.
Well, and he's gonna have to go back to Earth anyway to complete objectives and get the crystal. And if he finds the package, Package and Sand Ruby are pretty close to each other.
Yeah, you can land your airship, go to Kaipo, turn in the Sand Ruby, go to Mist, burn down the village with the package, because you don't actually have to rescue the character, you just have to go through the first half of that cutscene sequence, so you'll never be able to walk into Kaipo again until you finish the package boss and the package cutscenes. But if you've already done everything you need to in Kaipo, it doesn't matter too much.
Yeah, but that's why you gotta remember your order of operations and go to Kaipo and use the Sand Ruby before using the package.
Yes, if package, end all Kaipo checks first. That is the very important thing that's very easy to forget in the heat of these races, so I wouldn't be surprised to see Pankraz go to the package first, because reading left to right. And then you go and start the package cutscene, you go to Kaipo, and you can't go and walk to that bed until after you've done an unnecessary boss fight.
Pankraz probably gonna do the ribbon room first, because that one has 2 checks for the price of 1, unlike everywhere else on the moon. And yeah.
Oh. Yeah, I'm sorry, did you say 2 checks?
Well, I mean, usually. Now you've got 3.
Yeah, we need to go and double check your vision, because we're going to be seeing D-Mist blinding us with Cold Mist with that Berserk Yang, I think.
Yeah.
Unless, do we have a silver? Ooh. Also, I think D-Mist is going to need to go and maybe start checking their vision, because they're punching that Iridia a little too hard.
Imagine.
But here comes all that damage out from those nukes and those punches. Lots of damage. And we're now turning into Mist. So the reason why you don't like Berserk on this fight is because when you go and Berserk your characters, they keep attacking no matter what. And this is the time when you would really prefer for them to stop attacking. Iridia's going to go and solve the problem of Yang attacking, though, the direct way, it seems. I approve of this strategy, because there's a few ways of cleansing Berserks. Unihorns, Silver Staffs, Coffins. Nuke also does the job.
Murder.
Look, I may or may not have gone and based a plan around dealing with an obnoxious D-Mist by giving Kane an Avenger, letting him attack, and then coughing him right before he was going to start swinging at Mist. But Dusty has finished up their grind, and we're going to be curious. I'm curious as to seeing where Dusty is going, because this is going to be a very, very decisive play for Dusty. He is behind Pankraz in terms of just raw efficiency at the moment. But Pankraz is committing to the moon, while Dusty could go Earth. If Dusty finds Earth Crystal and Earth Crystal gives the package or finishes up a forge, that's huge for dustygriff. Dusty's landing. Dusty is going to the moon as well.
Interesting. We'll see if this pays off for either runner. Yeah, I mean, they're with a total of 5 key items that we're looking for.
Oh,
There's a good chance of at least one on the moon.
only 4 at the point because we do have the Sand Derby, so we're only looking for Legend and Adamant, which we found.
We
Legend.
found the Legend, so 3 left.
Yeah, 3 left. We need a package, an Adamant, or an Earth Crystal. Just any 2 of those 3. And I think when Pankraz finds another one of those, he may go and check the D-Mist to see if D-Mist is holding one of those items.
But Pankraz is berserking his bang against the bomb. And the bomb is also getting nuked, so we've got all kinds of explosions going on here.
Yeah, and what I'm curious what's driving both of these runners to the moon. If it's I'm against a good opponent, so I need to make a gamble, or if they believe this is the most efficient play I can make right now because the hook route can take me some time to slog through, and while it'll open up a bunch of checks, I can make these checks more efficiently.
Well, either they both hate the hook route so much that they would rather go to the moon, or possibly thinking if there's a key item up here that I need, my opponent's not going to go to the moon, so I should, and then I'll have the advantage. But, you know, they both went.
Our runners are definitely going and putting us in an interesting position. Pankraz getting the Luca key from that play, the White Spear altar check, so another key item.
Found the Luca key. What floor were we on?
I believe we're on. Well, Pankraz is on Lunar Core 1. Dusty's on Lunar Subterranean Floor 8.
So, Luca wasn't on the second floor.
Yours.
Yeah, thank you,
I am
Snape.
missing something.
Thank you, Snape D.
Look, I missed some things. I'm missing something here, and I'm going to have to go do research afterwards.
It's fine, don't worry about it.
If it's a song, I know why I'm missing that reference, because I may or may not have gone and ignored all pop culture for the majority of my life. But Pankraz finding Mylon and friends at the Masamune altar, so not the worst fight to find, though. Seeing a 500 damage lit 1. Name the last time you saw a 500 damage lit 1. Name the last time you saw lit 1 do material damage in general, to be entirely honest. This is pretty rare for me to see.
I mean, I'm Octomom.
True. Octoman will take quadruple damage from lit 1 since to be taking 300 to 400 points of damage. Holy, 700. Are we going to see lit 1 hit double digit, or quadruple digits? Double, triple.
Numbers are hard.
Yeah. Yeah, especially when those numbers are hitting Kane for 712. Moonbuzzwolf, I'm going to ask you in all honesty, when's the last time you bluffed up a pound that they could do 700 damage with a lit 1? Kane got bopped by the lit 1, but does get a White Spear, so that's a shuffled reward.
Yeah, it'll be nice for the Kane, but it doesn't get Pankraz any closer to, getting a crystal.
No, and well, we're not going to see any bosses resistant to the White Spirit, at least, because we've already seen Threemus and Octomam, two bosses who are resistant to holding damage, because they're weak to dark damage. xPankraz just getting check after check ahead on Dusty, as dustygriff is going and slogging through this Threemus, down pretty much one fighter compared to xPankraz, as xPankraz had both Young and Kane to go and do physical damage, while Dusty just has Rydia going and throwing nukes and Kane attacking with that Rune Axe.
Yeah, T-Mist is definitely a formidable foe. You know, a lot of people, you don't think that because it's the first boss you fight in the vanilla game, and it takes like no effort, but when put in the right spots, it can, you know, it's been tanking some damage here.
Yeah, dustygriff does get through. He's going to get their Legend Sword, but it is... xPankraz is starting the Leviathan at the Crystal Sword altar, and I don't think this Leviathan fight is going to take very long. Dusty might be able to make up some time with Rosa's throwing white, but Rosa is definitely not doing as much, did not do much of any work in that Threemus fight, to be entirely honest. Meanwhile, xPankraz is discovering that Leviathan at the Wyvern spot is doing less damage with an Ice 2 than Mylon and friends at the Masamune spot did with Lit 1. That is something you don't see very often.
Yeah, the Danger Noodle was a bit undercooked here.
And xPankraz's reward is a ribbon. So far, the moon has given us 2 key items and some...
Just moved everything around.
It did have a ninja sword, and unfortunately it went and misread its notes and had just a ninja sword rather than one of the named ninja swords.
I mean, it's close enough. Especially since we wouldn't be using any of them, because there's no edge.
Yeah, it's unfortunate that we have filled our parties before an edge could go and majestically appear on the scene and say, I am here to go and take all of your weaponry and to start equipped. But xPankraz leading the moon, choosing not to full clear, just going to go and, alright, I've done half the moon, I've got the top, I'm going to go somewhere else. And is going to check Threemus now. I wonder if they're going and checking Threemus now if he's already exited out. They want to see if they're getting another part of their objective, or if they're going to get more Earth checks.
Kind of hoping it's a package just because it'd be hilarious.
Earth Crystal!
Oh!
I think we're going to see xPankraz go to Toria.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
Dusty can catch up a lot of time, but just failing and checking that Earth Crystal right now, checking that Threemus and getting the Earth Crystal, but is going and healing up, which is the smarter and correct play. It's xPankraz, however, definitely has a solid lead at this point. Dusty is 2 checks behind, while xPankraz is going and using the Sand Rebound Sid to wake up Sid, and will be moving on to Toria, I believe, to complete objective number 4.
But Sid will not be coming with us.
Sid is already with us in spirit in the form of the Free Enterprise.
Also, chat pointing out that the moon was absolutely required because Legend Sword and Earth Crystal both locked by it.
Yeah, and this Earth Crystal, it would be absolutely wild if the Earth Crystal had the adamant or the package. Because it would be There would be no escaping this.
Or one of those is in Sealed Cave.
True. Yeah, and Pankraz, we're doing the harp check, just going straight up Zot. Definitely the smart play here because you know that Zot is required. Well, as required as it's going to be on a flag set where you have to do 3 or 4 objectives and you have one of them in your hand.
Yeah. But I mean, Zot, while it does have 2 bosses for just 1 check, at this level, it's not a terribly long way to go.
I believe the cutscenes are going to be longer than the fights.
Oh yeah, for sure. Although it'll be fun to see who's up here. It'd be real fun if there's like 2 Palums.
2 Palums up here. That'd be a pretty big insult. 2 Edges would also be a pretty funny insult as well.
But it's just like, what were you gonna do? Go to the moon first?
What are you gonna do to clear this without experience? Hey, look, there's a wyvern.
Hey, good times.
I think with the magic power at this spot, some of these characters might survive.
Yeah?
One of these characters survived.
Oh. And...
Yep, Young went and said, yep.
Yeah, he did.
Wyvern getting a hot take, and Yang said, yep, that's a hot take, alright.
Mega hot.
Or even super hot.
Wyvern needing a second nuke to be taken out, though, because it had enough HP. So it's kind of in that in-between spot where, like, it stopped dying in 1 reflect.
Yeah, and we see, well, there's 1 Palom. Are we get a second Palom on the Tower of Zot from the D-Mist on the moon at Ribbon?
Scala, Speedrun Ragnarok is over.
No, we only have to donate for River's hot takes.
Go rest, Scala.
Only a Palom and a Sid here, so Sid, after resting in the bed in Kaipo, decided to take Rose's other vanilla spot and come to the Tower of Zot.
Yes, Scala, it's literally over right now. Also, yep, there was a Palom up here.
And that is not a unfree boss, that's a Dark Elf. This Dark Elf is not going to have a good time.
And Dark Elf, starting off with its attack that it uses in the vanilla spot, basically the try attack. And it looks dangerous, but really is not.
Turns out, Kane with a Weight Spear, very dangerous to Dark Elves. They are weak to Holy. Or at least they're weak to direct physical Holy damage. I think if you cast Holy on Dark Elf, you'll get an absorb, or cast Weight on Dark Elf, it might absorb it. That's something I want to say it happened, but I have to go and double check that before I say for certain.
Can't say I've ever tried it.
I know the Octoman 100% absorbs Holy, same with Demus, because they are very much so Holy Elemental enemies, but Pankraz finished the moon, got the Earth, finished the Zot check, got the Earth Crystal, and is rewarded with a rat tail that they can turn in, and has objective number 4 complete. Meanwhile, dustygriff finished the Crystal Sword altar, is a Demist and a climb up Zot behind Pankraz at the moment. We're going to see is Dusty going back in, or is Dusty going to go and check? Dusty's going back in. Dusty is not leaving the moon just yet.
Yeah, Dusty seems like he just wanted a safety save.
Makes sense, because he did go and finish up all those altars. Saves on the moon.
Save on the moon. How did it get there? I keep making that joke until someone gets the reference I'm making.
But Pankraz only gets a crystal ring from the Rat Tail, so not a big turn-in. Zot is only required for the objective, not going to go and be a 2-for-1. But Pankraz choosing to go to Cave Magnus while dustygriff is finding a Bahamut at the Murasame spot.
Yeah, Bahamut got lost on the moon, apparently. But...
And
Sorry, go ahead.
I was just going to say, Pankraz, this is Moonblaze calling this a very defensive check from Pankraz. This Twin Harp has been open for some time that neither runners have checked before they went and cleared a large portion of the moon. I can see being nervous about this before going underground when you only need one objective.
Yeah, we're about to get a check that we have not seen yet on Dusty's side, so...
Yeah, Dusty only putting up one Star Veil on the team, but going and getting the Iridia back up, throwing up another Star Veil. Looks to be waiting for Bahamut to go and Mega Nuke again before throwing out any more Star Veils.
Yeah, probably trying to use as few as possible.
Only giving a Drain Spear, so reset, save those Star Veils.
Everyone's favorite Drain Spear. Checking Cave Bahamut.
Checking Cave Bahamut while Pankraz is just about to start getting music from Eddie, so I am going to go and be a little quiet so we can enjoy that music. And we are getting Kefka's theme from Twin Harp, and finding a free boss there as well that is going to go down very quickly to this team. Meanwhile, Dusty's finding what would be a free boss if you took that Cecil and brought them to the moon. Otherwise, you're in for a world of pain. Cave Bahamut, very punchy spot.
Ouch.
Only we're not the ones saying it this time, or Young's not the one saying it this time, we are.
Young would be saying it if Pankraz went there.
True, but not the right Young. Actually, it would be the right Young. We want the left Young to be saying that. Ooh. Punches and kicks coming out. Rosa's not really being able to go and get through that. Just relying on Kane, going and throwing out healing. And Pankraz has the package. Pankraz is in go mode. Dusty's in rough shape because unfortunately, even if this is the adamant, Dusty has to go through the hook route with the current, with what he currently has. And only gets a life staff. Pankraz going and making the correct call to clear the bottom of the moon, leave check Demist, follow up on Earth, and then do Twin Harp without even touching the underground. And in a fitting turn of events, we find Edward waiting for us at the package, not to be taken anywhere, not even to his bed in Kaipo. And Dusty is heading back to Earth, so hopefully Dusty will be checking that Demist. They could save a bit of time by going and doing Twin Harp into Zod, but that is not a wise play. That is just the happenstance to be the correct play. But we see the nice green redhead Eddie here, so not a very nice palette in general, and that palette somehow going and casting Titan, which is very impressive for a bard who doesn't even have MP.
I like the getting the crystal with the backdrop of the village on fire and then immediately having to go into that fight.
We're the good guys. We just have to be burning down an innocent village. Actually, before the cutscene, there are no NPCs wandering around this village, so are we burning down a village, or do we go and do some destructive renovations?
I mean, Rhea's mom's already dead and ascended because we got the item from her, so...
Definitely, one way or another, this team is definitely not the most valiant way to get a crystal, but FF4FE is going, equipping their party and walking into Toria, and is going to be going to Zeromus. And our chat is getting a bit excited. I'm seeing some flags out.
Indeed. That's our special flag.
Yes, on the randomizer we had what was a Z flag and is now the default. If you really want to go and see Vanilla Zeromus, you can turn that on, but where's the joy in that? Why not go and experience one of the 450 different sprites made for Zeromus in this randomizer? Because we can't go and leave the final boss alone if we're leaving him in this vanilla location. We have to go and give him something to justify it being in a randomizer. So, as our runners go into the Z fight, whose butt are we gonna kick tonight? But tell it is... It looks like xPankraz is getting set up to go and do hybrid strats as they are berserking their Yang and throwing the crystal with Iridia. And berserking that Cane. Not committing to a hard reflex strat, but instead going hybrid makes sense when you have one nuke caster and one white caster and two very nicely equipped, well, nicely for T and S Pro equipped melee fighters.
Oh, it's theater rhythm.
Haha. Well, that seems like a good sense of flow. Though Young does seem to be a bit of a one-note character like this. Are you implying that that joke was a bit flat? Sorry, I was trying to be a bit more sharp than this. There's so much going on, it's hard to give it a full note of attention.
Tella throwing out the silk web and slowing it down, so everything's gonna be played out of time.
As long as we have a good rhythm, we'll be able to get through this fight. As we don't go and base our assumptions on some bad notes.
I see what you did there. Takes a lot to be sharp.
But Tella has fallen flat as we are now just 4 for 5 out, 4/5 of a party now. Seems a bit of an odd time measure.
Well, Luckily, the rest of Pankraz's party members are going to be in sync. They can hold their own.
I mean, Rudy is pulling out a lot of, pulling out a quarter of the damage here at least. Maybe even half of them. Toss some more reviews in chat. Tell is just taking a rest. This fight is Dusty is going and getting the news that just a crystal ring from Tower of Za, you need to go somewhere else to find go mode, while Pankraz is just singing through their way through this fight.
Yeah, Dusty doesn't have time to fiddle around.
Things could end on a sour note for Pankraz if he takes a wipe, but that is looking a bit unlikely.
Dusty is playing it correctly and going for the music route.
Well, at least they know the score. But Pankraz has definitely been in this fight for a while. Radiant did go down, but you have two melee fighters, and it looks like you have another... Nope, you don't have another Big Bang. You have a crumble. Pankraz has come in first place, beating number 1 seed dustygriff in a time of 1 hour, 9 minutes, and 40 seconds. GG's to Pankraz, taking game 1 of this 3-match series. Well, let's see if we can get Pankraz in here for an interview.
Pankraz is now first chair in this performance.
Yeah, they've definitely got the lead on this set. And we are joined by Pankraz. GG's Pankraz. How are you feeling right now?
Feeling pretty good. I feel like I played that one pretty well, and I'm glad to come away with a win.
You definitely did go and have a very nice seed, dude. You've definitely had a very good race in general. My biggest question for you is, what drove you to go and take Yang over a second Rosa, or check the hook path for another character?
Hook character I just kind of forgot about. It didn't hit my mind. I looked at the Moon character, looking for maybe a Palom. But Yang over Rosa was mostly because I didn't feel that the extra speed that I'd get from doing a reflect kill would be worth it with the extra big bangs and everything that I'd be seeing with 2 white mages instead of several new casters. White with the longer cast time and with my severe lack of gear, I thought that I'd be eating 2, maybe 3 big bangs and having a lot dicier of a fight than if I just did hybrid strats. And with a decent hybrid setup, they're usually fairly comparable in timing, maybe a minute or so apart. So I thought I'd just maybe take that risk and go for it.
Makes a lot of sense, and you definitely earned a fair bit of time. How were you feeling when you saw that D-Mist in the first spot on the moon?
I was very glad I didn't have 2 white mages. I popped in there, and I'm like, or one of the other reasons to take the Yang was that if a D-Mist had popped up, or an Octomam, although now I'm remembering that we had seen Octomam somewhere, I'd rather have 2 physical fighters for those fights, or rather, I'd rather have a physical fighter over a white caster, since I'd be able to get damage out of them instead of just casting Blink.
Certainly makes a lot of sense, and yes, you did see the Octomam on the Mount Hobbs. I believe you took that fight. It was guarding a Cecil.
Yeah.
Why, out of curiosity, did you choose to take that fight? Just for experience, or was it another reason?
Mostly experience, also to have the Cecil in the back pocket if, say, a Crystal Sword or Excalibur showed up when somewhere in my next few checks, or before I took a fourth character and grinded. At that time, I didn't know that the Darkness Crystal was in Fabul, so I was maybe planning a longer slog seed and wanted that character option should it arise.
Definitely makes a lot of sense. And with how are you feeling when you went and checked that D-Mist who had the Earth Crystal from your first check on the moon while leaving 2 other checks on the moon?
Very happy that it had an objective. I had figured I'd bail at that point since I had already found a couple key items, and with the triple D-Mist, with 5 of the 7 moon key items done, with everything I had left on Earth, there was a lot more check density and everything if I were to go back and start checking there. Plus a D-Mist to turn in. Got pretty lucky that the D-Mist had the Earth Crystal, so I knew at that point that there was no way to complete the seed without doing that ribbon room. And was happy to find the package at the Twin Harp right afterward.
Yeah, speaking of that Twin Harp, that was a item you got pretty early on that you chose to forgo until late into the seed. What drove you to go there over then going to the underground?
Because I had thought that maybe Dusty went underground, and if the path through there, or the path to victory was underground, then I had already lost, or was in a much worse position to win. I thought I'd have to hedge my bets and stick with the clears that I had without going through the hook route. Maybe I turn up a magma key, maybe I turn up an objective, and I can skip the hook route and gain some time back. In this case, it had the objective.
So were you nervous that when Dusty went to the moon that he'd cleared underground, and if he was getting to the moon as you were leaving it, first check he would go and find a legend sword that might finish off his forge?
Yeah, definitely.
Okay.
Like, if the package, I had faded 7 checks on Earth, I think, in order to go up to the 7 checks on the moon. So after a few checks there, I figured, plus with the Luca key in hand and the D-Mist to turn in, there were a lot more checks to go back to on Earth than the 2 that I'd fade on the moon. I figured I'd have to take a risk, and it paid off.
Definitely sounds very fair. You did actually have a bit of a lead on Dusty just throughout a fair amount of the seed. You went and got into your grind before him. You went and got to the moon before him. He also did actually go to the moon. But Dusty did go and turn in the Sandra before you did, though. Other than that, you both had pretty similar routes, all things considered.
Well, that's interesting to hear. I'm really looking forward to watching this mod back now and seeing what little divergence there was then, if our routes were so similar.
Dusty did go in full clear of the moon before going back to the Earth, but otherwise, neither of you went underground. We did not see anything underground this seed.
Did we even see the hook character on this side?
Nope.
Nope.
Alright, well, maybe I'll have to peek after this seed and find out for everybody.
Definitely a point of curiosity, to be entirely honest. Dijon, do you have any questions for Pankraz?
No, I think that about covers it.
Then one final question for me before we let you go. How are you feeling going into Game 2, being up 1 game on dustygriff?
Very relieved that I'm not going to get swept, at the very least at this point. Dusty is absolutely fantastic at this game. I've tuned in on the stream and seen everything that he can do, and it is awe-inspiring. So I know I'm going to have to take a couple risks like I did in this seed, and definitely play to the best of my ability if I want to come ahead with a win. And this seed, those risks paid out. I have to hope that something similar happens in at least one of the next 2 seeds.
We'll be rooting for you, though. To be entirely honest, I'll be rooting for Game 3 more, because this was definitely a great race to see.
Yeah, more free enterprise is always a win.
And do you have that match scheduled?
No, we don't have it yet. We are holding off for a little bit since Dusty's in the middle of evening right now, I believe. So, but it should be tentatively planned for this weekend, Saturday and Sunday. Maybe Friday.
Sounds good. Thank you very much. And GG's again on your win.
Thank you very much. And thank you all for the restream. Couldn't do it without all of you. Look forward to watching it back and hearing everything that you guys have to say.
Always glad to put in a great show, and thank you for letting us put one on.
Of course. You all have a good rest of the night.
You too. And Dusty is on Zeromus himself now, while on Pankraz's side, we get the staff.
And speaking of staff, let's go and give a shout out to our Restream staff today. We have Safety on Restream and Paladin Aegis on tracking duty, and Dijon Ketchup, thank you for joining me for commentary today. It's been great fun commentating with you.
Yeah, it's been great commentating with you as well. It was
Certainly.
a great time.
These are lovely finds. Sad to see that we're getting close to the end of the tournament, but every match has been exciting, and we're just going to keep having exciting matches as while we have Dusty and Pankraz fighting out on one side of the semifinals, we also have Dia and Fleury 14 fighting out on the other side, so keep an eye on the channel. Feel free to join our Discord to see the exact times of all of our races, because you don't want to miss these races. These are some of the best plays of free enterprise we have around, and when I first started doing table seats, if you told me that we'd go and have multiple sub-hour 20 finishes on these flags, I would say you were lying, or there was just some weird divergence, but this is...
There's been some fast seeds.
This was some fast seeds, and there's been some seeds that just been absolutely demolished. Our runners both going through so much and yet so little, clearing most, if not all, of the final area of this game, and then still coming in under an hour and a half. That is, if you've played these flags with the T Pro and S Pro, that is some very lean loot, and that is some very good maneuvering of these fights that our runners have done. So please do go and give them a follow.
Well, it looks like Dusty's got a pretty good read on Zeromus and is making some key plays. So,
looks like we've had a sharp downturn this here as Rydia goes down and Rosa's close to going down. Black Hole's coming out, so we need to go and refresh our tempo. But Dusty going, not even healing, just marching along. Didn't go and beat this boss with her flex strats very cleanly, it looks like.
yeah, definitely want to take notes on this performance, because it's a pretty good Z fight.
Yeah, Dusty has orchestrated a clean victory over Zeromus with her flex strats, finishing with an official time of 1 hour, 20 minutes, and 39 seconds. GG, dustygriff. We'll see if we can get him in for an interview, and it sounds we're joined by him now. GG's, dustygriff.
GG.
GG's.
So this is a question I want to go and ask because I'm curious of the answer. Why did you choose not to go and check the Hook character before going and finalizing your party?
I didn't think it was too worth the time, to be honest. I knew, like, going to the moon, at least I got to check the shop and also check the character and get the cutscene over with. If I didn't have to go through Hook at all, which I didn't, it just would end up being a little nicer for me, and that's a pretty large amount of time to go in there. I was only basically looking for a Palom Iridia on the moon, and I knew I had a Rosa waiting, so I said, listen, I'll take a Rosa.
Ah. So another question I have then is, what did drive you to the moon instead of going through the Earth?
Where it was terminal items that were, well, not just terminal items, but, you know, package and Legend Sword, adamant that were, you know, the sort of really prized things I was looking for there. Obviously, Earth Crystal as well. I figured it might make some sense to just go ahead and go with Moon here. Obviously, the other thing is you can go to every spot on Moon and kind of clear them fairly quickly when you have a party powerful enough. Now, some of those fights were pretty slow, to be honest, but to get through the underworld, I'd have to go through Hook and then still have to do the checks themselves. So it made an efficiency sense to me to just straight up to Moon there.
Okay, that certainly does make sense. One thing that how did you feel when you went to your first check on the Moon and found that it was demist?
I wasn't sure what I wanted to do at that point. It was interesting because obviously the legend sword was there, and I was like, "Oh, that's one piece of something." But I needed at least 2 more items, or key items rather, to move forward. So, obviously, for hindsight, it's 2020, but would have been interesting to piece out at that moment and just check that and move forward with the checks. And I would have obviously stayed around and did Zot and maybe done Magnus at the same time since I was back on Earth at that point. But that's just it's don't really know what to do with the seed until you're done the seed, basically. But it's always an interesting situation to be put in when you find demist in a spot like that where you have a lot of other checks open. Is do I chase this now or do I kind of keep going? But if it was 1 item away from go mode rather than 2, I would have probably chased it immediately. But since it being 2, it kind of made sense to me at the time.
Yeah, I definitely cannot disagree with that, because I would be in the exact same position of, well, I need at least 2 more items to get to go mode.
Yeah.
I don't want to go and leave, bail this, have it be either next door or the Masamune altar, so I have to do this walk again. Definitely a very understandable thing to do.
Yeah.
And another thing that I'm curious about, what kept you on the Moon until you cleared it in its entirety rather than going back after you cleared just the bottom?
That's just my standard play, basically. If I had 2 items that was pushing me away from Moon at that point, maybe I would have said, see you later. But since it was just that demist, really, I had the twin harp, but that was the starting item. But since it was just that demist kind of eluding me or drawing me there, I wanted to just keep going at that point. But it's really tough to know what to do, and I think any play there makes sense and you can make an argument for it, but this seed, that's kind of the standard play I make typically in that sense. If I'm committing to Moon, it's all or nothing unless I get a few things leading me away.
Well, that certainly makes sense. And after you went and found that, cleared the Moon, found that it didn't go and have any more key items after the 2 you found at the bottom of the Luka key and the Legend Sword, you went back to the Earth to find the Earth Crystal from Demist, cleared that, and then you chose to do Twin Harp. What pushed you to that over going and doing the Hook route?
Funny enough, if you go by the numbers, sure, like Hook route would have made efficiency sense, but you're just looking for 1 item. You have Pass, so it's a very quick, go to Z and go. Obviously, if it was Adamant at Magnus, I still have to do Hook route or whatever. But I think at that point it makes a lot of sense to just go and do Magnus, since some of the checks underground are going to be comparable in length. Obviously, you have your Fame Arch chest and Sheila 1, but Dwarf Castle isn't going to be particularly quick. Keyless Tower would be particularly quick. Luca would be particularly quick. So against all of those, on top of actually have to clear the Hook route, which takes several minutes as well, makes the most sense to me in that situation to go to Magnus and see what you get.
Definitely makes a lot of sense to me. Dijon, do you have any questions for Dusty?
I think it's been pretty well covered. Just GG's and.
Yeah, GG's, Dusty. How are you feeling going into the second match down 0-1?
Expected. I definitely think Pankraz is an amazing player and has really showed how amazing of a player there this tournament, and should be feared. But no, I think they've played so well, and I kind of expected getting to this point in the tournament. Losses are inevitable. They're going to happen. And no, I look forward to hopefully playing again and seeing what happens with the rest of the series. But no, GG's to Pankraz on this one. Seems like they played amazing. So
Yeah, I will definitely recommend watching back your race in Pankraz because you both had similar routes. So Pankraz, one, took Yang over the second Rosa, and two, dipped out of the moon after clearing the bottom, just exited, and rather than going back in, checked Demas. So those are two things that definitely I think worked out in Pankraz's favor this time.
sure.
But it was still a very close race. It was a very interesting race to see as well. So, with that, any final thoughts before we let you go?
Just GG's very much again to Pankraz. Like I mentioned, amazing player. I'm expecting to get knocked down in this round, and I expect the finals to be amazing. But in any case, yeah, GG's to them. Very, very well played, and thank you all for you and Dijon on commentating this one, and to the whole Restream teams, Mape team, Aegis. Appreciate it, and yeah, looking forward to the next one.
We'll be looking forward to that race as well. Once you have that scheduled, we'll be sure to let everyone know. But thank you and have a great evening.
You too. Thanks, folks.
And with that brings us to the end of our race for tonight. Very
Indeed.
fun race.
That was a good one. They're all good ones, but this one was good.
Yeah, it's hard to go and look at a race at this stage of the tournament and think, oh yeah, that was okay. They're all very good, very tight, and very exciting. But we're going to be sending you all on to Asuka424. She is a member of the Free Enterprise community, been helping out a lot with Restreams, who's going to be playing some of her own seeds. And we'll ask you to go and give her our love. Please make sure not to go and spoil the results of this race for the people in Asuka's chat or to Asuka herself, as they may be looking forward to watching this themselves. So feel free to tell them that it was a good one, just not the results.
Baffle them with music puns, and they won't know why.
Someone needs to settle the score. I'm surprised you didn't beat me to that one.
Bassoon.
I'm taking notes. Good night.